Hello everyone, this is Ashwin presenting from Marvell Securities Incorporated. So we are going to demonstrate our project called Network Pyramid Model, where we are creating a baseline of Active Directory, DHCP, and DNS. And we are going to install all these things by adding a roles and features and adding all the DNS, DHCP, and AD, which is required for the setup. And after installation, what we are going to do is we are going to tools and Active Directory users and computers to check whether the server is acting as a domain controller, and we are checking that in Active Directory users and computers marvel.local and domain controller, and we could see our server is acting as a domain controller over here. And after that, what we are going to do is we are trying to configure DNS and DHCP for the same. So we'll start with DNS, where we have to configure DNS in such a way that even if any client or is using a reverse lookup zones, we need to configure that too. So by default, forward lookup zones has been already configured when the DNS is installed. So what we are going to do is we are going to add a new zone over here, and we are just creating a reverse lookup using a network ID over here. So when we give a network ID over here, we'll get a proper reverse lookup result over here. And after that, after setting this DNS manager, we are going to DHCP to see or to set a specific domain range which is associated with the server. So the main thing about DHCP is the 3 octets in DHCP will be resembling the server, and the fourth octet which differs according to the number of clients being added over here. To configure that, we have to go to tools, DHCP, server.main. We go to IPv4, and we have to determine or add a new scope. So we are going to name the scope over here, and we just need to add the proper IP range where we wish to locate or we wish to assign to the client computers over here. So I'm going to give an example on how to connect Active Directory, the client machine to Active Directory, which we have already done, and this is shown for demonstration purpose. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to properties of my computer, advanced system properties, and we are going to insert the credentials for Windows Server, and go to computer name, change, and we have to select domain over here and specify the domain which we want to connect over here. So after all this, what we're going to do next is configuring the same solutions which can be downloaded from Vaza website. So we are going to select Vaza, which is free SCN solution available on the internet, and we're going to set up the Vaza network, Vaza SCN solutions in Windows VM workstation. And after setting up, we'll get to see the CA solution running. So all we have to do is insert an IP address or check the IP address over here, and we could see the IP address is 10.0.0.2, which is being highlighted over here. And to integrate the scene solution to the server, what we are going to do is we need to run an agent called Vaza agent, which is located in C drive or sec agent, and over here in the manager IP, we are going to insert the IP address of Vaza, and we are going to generate an authentication key using a software called Putty. And when running Putty, what we have to do is we have to add an agent by pressing A. We have to give a proper ID, and after all that is set, we have to extract the key of an agent through Putty so that we could put that as an authentication key here, and we have to save it. So after saving it, we just need to restart to make sure that it is reflected over there. And once we refresh to the buzzer dashboard, we'll get all the events that has been occurred on that specific system. Now, what is remaining over here is we have successfully integrated SIEM solutions with Windows Server, and there are a couple of tasks which is remaining over here is the installation of Vaza agent onto the client machines to track the activity that has been happening on the client machine. And on top of that, we have a virtual firewall to be set up for the server to make sure that even if the server's firewall is down, there will be a separate firewall which will take care of the monitoring purpose, so that we could track the activities that is coming or flowing through the IP of the server, and to detect if there is any anomalies that is coming up. So in this wizard dashboard, we could see that on a specific timeline, that is, we are going to modules over here and go to security events, and we could see the all the activity that has been happening on the Windows server. And after confirming, we could see there are in the top MITRE attack section, there are valid accounts, stored data manipulation, brute force, disabling security, sudo, and so on. So this is the overall status that can be seen in Vaza from yesterday after integrating Vaza into the server, and we could see the security alerts that has been happened on the server, and which is basically the Windows logon success and user log of success. In order to get this, what we're going to do is we are going back to Windows Server, and in group policy editor, we have to turn on, or we have to set an alert every time we change anything on the server. So that can be done in audit policy, and we are going to set 4 parameters to success or failure just for a checkup. Uh, Furthermore, we will be changing these security settings according to the configuration which we need. For the time being, for the testing purpose, we have checked audit account login, logon events, account management, audit policy change, and audit system events. So this basically tracks the basic events that has been happening on the server, and which cause a reflection over here. So if you go to this technique, the main advantage of using Versa is that whatever tactic is being used, we have a corresponding technique and description over here, which is shown as an adverse effect of it, and we could get an insight of what is happening and how it is caused. And we have a couple of results other than log on and log off, which is the password check failed, authentication failed, Unix check password failed, and enabling the system security settings over here. Thank you. And for further implementation, we're looking forward to integrate PF Sense, which is a virtual firewall, which is we are trying to integrate onto the server. On successful completion, I believe the project is going to complete. Now we are at 70% of the project completion, and we'll be completing the further project as soon as possible. Thank you. We have successfully integrated SIEM solutions called Visa for the basic necessities that has been happening, all the activities that has been happening on Windows 2019 server. Now there are a couple of things that is remaining to implement. The first thing is the installation of agent onto the client systems, so that whatever activities is been occurring on the client server will be recorded over here. And the second thing is the implementation of PF Sense onto the server, which we are finding some major issues on integrating PF Sense onto the server. We have configured half of the solutions to where we could successfully run, but at the end, the given IP address from the PFSense is cannot be logged in any of the browsers which we are looking forward to connect with it. The major problem is that every time the system starts, the PFSense should be restarted manually, which is the current situation over here. That normally what should happen with a virtual firewall is that every time we reboot our server, this firewall should automatically fire on its own. But unfortunately, this isn't happening by PFSense. So we are looking forward to overcome that situation so that it will be implemented as soon as the server fires up, and will be running along with it. The main purpose of implementing PFSense is that there can be a time where Windows 2019's firewall can go down, and we have to switch to a different firewall, which is the reason why we are implementing PFSense over here. And after successfully integrating that, we are finally looking to integrate email phishing attacks such as spam that is not been recognized from a particular or a genuine IP address, which doesn't have the following email certificates such as DMARC and the other parameters. So we are currently researching on how to implement the email monitoring over here, and most probably we'll be finding a simpler solution to implement that too.